Alright, I'm back. And I already looked who wrote the next SCP, and they're back again. The Great Hippo, once again. Let me look at Discord real quick. Let me look when I send a screenshot of Communism Will Win. So we have, there were 6 total in one reading of Communism Will Win last weekend. But I think with the amount of, not in like one stream, but from the amount of like in both streams like, shortly after each other, I think Great Hippo might have beat him. No, it's 6. It's 5 now. So Communism Will Win has 1 ahead. At least we know we're going to get absolute literature. That should be an emote. That should be make it like a black and white AfroFluff emote, just going like this and just absolute literature. I need to make more emotes, man. It's also just funny looking at like the author and be like, Great Hippo always being like the second, after, like always like one author, Great Hippo, one author, Great Hippo, one author, Great Hippo. All right, we have a bzzip.exe. If you don't understand what I just said, let me show you. Bzzip.exe. All right. Is that Raymond's face? It's very similar. It could also be Titoof. How do you spell that shit? No, that's not really it. Just reminds me of like that kind of like cartoon style, but it definitely looks more like smile wise it fits Raymond. Okay, let's go. Object class save. Special containment procedures. SCP-304-5's installation packages will be stored on a flash drive, which will be kept in a secure lock on a site. Researchers may install SCP-3045 on an isolated computer for testing purposes. Once testing is concluded, this computer will be destroyed along with all of its peripheral components. Any computers, buildings, or facilities containing SCP-3045 must be Tempest certified. Forklifts certified as well, maybe? A certification indicates that equipment and/or structures are insulated from leakage of data via electromagnetic or acoustic emissions. For more information, personnel with appropriate clearance may consult documentation for SCP-2639. Under no circumstances should SCP-3045 be used on any media file that directly references bees. And here we have a logo for SCP-3045. Cute logo. Description: SCP-3045 is an anomalous application bzzip.exe that reduces the size of a certain type of media, plain text, rich text, MOV, AVI, and MP4. It accomplishes this by producing a new file with trimmed, simplified content. This file can be reduced further, however, after a certain number of iterations, the result will be a file that contains little to no data. Additional attempts at reduction will only reproduce this final file. Addendum 1, test log. So we have test log number 1. Oh, fuck. I can see that this is gonna be a long ass read. Okay, let's get to it. Close file. A rich text file containing Shakespeare Hamlet. Mechanic, did you check all these stuff for word count? Because I feel like we might have more words than we thought we will. Rich text file containing Shakespearean Hamlet. Forward to save space, only Act 1 is provided during the first iteration. The entire play is provided at the 4th iteration and every iteration thereafter. Here we have iteration 1, Act 1. Scene, platform in front of a castle. Enter guards and Horatio. Horatio, there's a ghost. I do not believe you. And the ghost, I believe you. There's a ghost. Nuh-uh. Oh, yes. You are smart. Address it. Speak, ghost. Exit ghost. That ghost wore the dead king's things. And the ghost, it returns. Exit ghost. We must tell Hamlet it goes where his father's things. It's been a while since I read Hamlet. But that's just kind of funny. This is a ghost, I do not believe you. And the ghost, I believe you. Scene, room inside the castle. Enter King Claudius, Queen Gertrude, Hamlet, Polonius, Laertes, and men. My brother was king, but he died and I married his wife. I'm very wise and competent king. Men, I order you to go to wise and competent things. I understand what's going on. It's simplifying the script because it does say like simplify content. Yes, sir. Exit men. I wish to go to France. Does your father permit it? I do. Then go. I am moody. Cease being moody. Listen to your mother. I'm no longer moody. All is well. Exit all but Hamlet. All is not well. For I am secretly still moody. Enter Horatio, guards. It goes where's your father's thing? Shall we go see it? Yes. Scene, a room in Polonius' house. Enter Laertes and Ophelia. Do not have sex with Hamlet. Alright. Enter Polonius. Laertes, act only to your own benefit. Alright. Exit Laertes. Polonius, do not have sex with Hamlet. Do not talk to Hamlet. Alright. I know I should give them voice acting, but I think it's like kind of funny if it's just like this, like simplify. It's a very, even my voice acting is simplified. Scene, platform in front of the castle. Enter Hamlet, guards, and Horatio. Things are occurring. Enter ghost. That is my father's ghost. Ghost beckons to Hamlet. I will see what he wants. Guards and Horatio, do not go. I am going. Exit ghost and Hamlet. Something is rotten. Scene, other part of platform. Ghost, Claudius killed me and married your mother. Hamlet, I will avenge you. Alright. Exit ghost. I was moody, but now I am angry. And the gods and Horatio, tell no one what you saw. Off stage. Swear. I will pose as madman. Swear to ignorance. Swear. Actually, wait, hold on. Hold on, let me do that again. Tell no one what you saw. Swear. I will pose as madman. Swear to ignorance. Swear. So that was Hamlet Act 1 simplified. What was iteration 2? Act 1 scene. Castle performs and the guards. Guards. Ghost. And the ghost. Ghost. Exit ghost. We must tell Hamlet. So this is now the same Hamlet again, but it's even more simplified. Scene inside castle, enter Claudius, Gertrude, Hamlet, Laertes, and Polonius. My brother died. I married his wife. Now I'm wise king. I wish to go to France. Alright. Alright then. I am moody. Do not be moody. I'm no longer moody. Exit all but Hamlet. I am, secretly, moody. And the gods? Ghost. Show me. Scene. Polonius' house. Enter Laertes and Ophelia. No sex. Alright. Enter Polonius. Laertes, be selfish. Alright. Exit Laertes. Stay away from Hamlet. No sex. Alright. Castle platform. Enter Hamlet, guards, and ghost. The ghost is my father. Exit. Hamlet and ghost. Scene. Different platform. Enter Hamlet and ghost. Father's killed me. I will avenge. And the gods. Swear to not tell. We swear. Iteration. Oh my god. Act 1 scene outside. Ghost. Hamlet must know. Scene. Room. Old king died. Emily's wife. Unhappy. Be happy. Yes. But secretly, no. Ghosts? Show. Other room. No sex. Yes. Be selfish. Yes. No Hamlet, no sex. Yes. Outside. I'm a father. New king killed me. Vengeance. Gods don't tell. We won't. How much more simpler can this get? Act 1. King, cheer up, Hamlet. No. Ghost, vengeance, Hamlet. Yes. Act 2. King, find out what he knows. Hamlet's friends, what do you know? Hamlet not telling. Oh my god. We had the Great Hippo giving us an actual horrifying concept, the coolest shit, and now the funniest shit. How does Great Hippo do this? What kind of literature genius is this person? Like, Act 3, Hamlet frightens Queen. You frighten me. Voice behind curtain. Gods. Hamlet. Vengeance. Hamlet stabs curtain. It was Polonius. Hamlet wish it was king. Act 4. King. King, go away. Hamlet. Yes. Ophelia drowns herself. Vengeance. Let's work together. Act 5. King poisons sword. Wine. Laertes poisons Hamlet with sword. Hamlet stabs Laertes. This was King's idea. Laertes dies. Queen drank poison wine. Queen dies. Vengeance. Hamlet kills King. Hamlet dies. 14 bros. What happened? You are king now. You know what this the vengeance part reminds me of? Silent Night, Deadly Night. Punish! Yeah. If anybody's watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Iteration 5. Hamlet. Vengeance. Hamlet kills Polonius. Ophelia drowns. Hamlet kills Laertes. Queen dies of poison. Hamlet kills King. Hamlet dies. Iteration 6. People die. Iteration 7. Bzzz. Bzzz. Holy shit. Okay, that was just one. That was just test 1. Access, now we have test 2. An MP4 file containing the entirety of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the original theatrical release. Forward researcher Rogers was tasked to watch each iteration provide a summary of notable differences. Hey, I would love to do that. Okay, iteration 1. Main character Indiana Jones, Henry Jones, Elsa Schneider, Sala, Walter Donovan, Colonel Vogel, Grail Knight. The movie opens with Walter Donovan asking Indiana to find the Grail. It mentioned that his father, Henry, was asked before him, but has since disappeared. Jones departs to Venice. There, he meets Elsa. Together, they discover the hidden knight's tomb that refers them to Alexandretta. Elsa and Indiana manage to rescue Indy's father at Castle Grunwald, only to be captured by Colonel Vogel. Elsa reveals herself to be a traitor. Indy and Henry escape then. After meeting up with Sala, fight against Nazi forces, defeating Colonel Vogel, which by the way, Vogel means bird in German, on their way to Alexandretta. At the Grail Temple, Donovan reveals himself to have been a traitor and shoots Indy's father, forcing Indy to confront the 3 trials to save him. Once he passes these trials, Elsa and Donovan follow him. Confronted by the Grail Knight, Indy is told he must select the right Grail, and the Grail cannot leave the temple. Donovan appears and Elsa goads him into choosing the wrong Grail, resulting in his death. Indy selects the right Grail and uses it to heal his father. Elsa attempts to leave the temple with the Grail, resulting in the temple collapse and her death. Indy, his father, and Sala are right off into the sunset. Noble differences: Marcus Brody and Kazim are gone, as is the subplot with the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword. Yeah, I remember that. There's no mention of Henry's journal at any point in the story. They never go to Berlin to retrieve it, and never board a Zeppelin to escape Germany. The entire opening sequence with Indy pursuing the cross of Coronado, both as a teenager and as an adult, has been cut. The dialogue has been significantly simplified in many places, with extraneous dialogue mostly removed. 85 minutes. Iteration 2. Indiana Jones, Henry Jones, Elsa Schneider, Colonel Vogel, Grail Knight. The movie opens with Indiana meeting Elsa in Venice. Oh. He does? A song made almost entirely of sounds from the B movie trailer. Okay. Let's give it a listen. Oh fuck.
Sweater. 1B in a turtleneck. 1B in a turtleneck sweater. 1B in a turtleneck. 1B in a turtleneck sweater. 1B in a turtleneck. 1B in a turtleneck sweater. 1B in a turtleneck.
1B in a turtleneck sweater.
That's first of all, that's definitely not long enough for the whole reading. And I better not get copyrighted for that shit. If I get in trouble for that, I'm gonna be mad. The movie opens with Indiana meeting Elsa in Venice, where they discover the hidden night tomb and learn the grail is in Alexandretta. They decide to save Indy's father at Castle Brunwald, but Elsa betrays them to Colonel Vogel. They flee to Alexandretta. When Indy reaches the temple, Colonel Vogel takes the place of Walter Donovan, shooting Indy's father, then following him into the grail room and being goaded by Elsa into choosing the wrong grail. Elsa once again attempts to leave the temple with the grail, resulting in its collapse. The movie ends with Indy and his father riding off into the sunset. Walter Donovan and Salah are gone, along with the tank battle. The 3 trials are now 2 trials. The Name of God trial has been cut. 52 minutes. Indiana Jones, Elsa Schneider, Colonel Vogel, Grail Knight. The movie opens with Indiana meeting Elsa in Venice, where he tells her he knows the Grail's location. Alexandretta, Colonel Vogel suddenly steps out of Elsa's closet, revealing Elsa as a traitor. Indy escapes, fleeing to Alexandretta. There, he's confronted by Elsa and Vogel again. Vogel shoots Elsa, forcing Indy to retrieve the Grail. Indy retrieves 2 Grails, giving the wrong one to Vogel, leading to Vogel's death. Indy uses the real Grail to restore Elsa's life. Elsa attempts to leave with the Grail, the temple collapses and she dies. Oh, thank you so much. The movie ends with Indiana riding off alone into the sunset. Notable differences: Henry Jones is gone. There's only one trial, leap of faith. The ending has a much more somber tone at the end, with Indiana saying nothing after Elsa's death. 17, that's a big cut down, 17 minutes. Indiana Jones, Elsa Schneider, Grail Knight. The movie opens with Indiana meeting Elsa in Venice, where he tells her he knows the Grail's location, Alexandretta. They leave for Alexandretta, where Indy and Elsa enter the temple and retrieve the Grail from the Grail Knights. Elsa attempts to leave with the Grail, causing the temple to collapse and leading to her death. Indiana rides off alone into the sunset. Colonel Vogel is gone. There are no trials and only one Grail is in the final room. The Grail Knight has only one line where he warns them they cannot leave the temple with the Grail. 6 minutes. Invasion 5. Indiana Jones Grail Knight. The movie opens with Indiana entering the temple in Alexandretta. He encounters the Grail Knight, who informs him that the Grail cannot be taken from the temple. Indiana thanks the Grail Knight for telling him this, and rides off into the sunset. Elsa's gone. Indiana has 2 lines. I'm here with the Grail, and thank you for telling me about the Grail. The Grail Knight has 1. The Grail cannot leave the temple. 1 minute. Indiana Jones. The movie opens with Indiana riding on a horse in the desert, reading from a book. He reads the Holy Grail cannot be removed from the temple in Alexandria. He closes the book, looks at the temple in front of him, nods solemnly, then turns around and rides off into the sunset. Less than 1 minute. The movie opens and ends with Indiana riding off into the sunset. Less than 15 seconds. None. The movie consists of a black screen with a soft buzzing sound. Bzzz. 3 seconds. This is fucking... This shit's hilarious. Okay, here we go. Description: a plain text file containing the entirety of Samuel Beckett's tragicomedy Waiting for Godot. Iteration: and the characters... we are waiting for Godot. Godot does not arrive. Iteration 2. Still waiting. Bzzz. Test 4. A morph file containing the entirety of the B movie, an animated film by DreamWorks Animation. There we go. of course, they had to show up. Researcher Xiao Xin was tasked to watch each iteration and provide a summary of notable differences. Barry B. Benson, Vanessa Bloom, Ken, pollen jocks. Barry B. Benson, a B, is a non-conformist who has just graduated college, burning the job assigned to him by a bee society. He goes after a group of pollen jocks, also bees, where he encounters Vanessa, a human florist, and Ken, her boyfriend. By the way, I know it's a common thing to say, but Ken was fully right to be absolutely pissed off that his girlfriend left him for a bee. Yeah, sure, he was maybe a little bit arrogant, but other than that, there was like nothing really off about him. So the fact that she just fell in love or like had like some romantic inclination towards a bee was just weird. And the fact that nobody even like tried to tell him like, no, you're right, Ken, like, it is weird. Ken attempts to kill him, but Vanessa saves his life. Barry later returns and expresses his thanks to Vanessa. The two begin a relationship. After Barry discovers that humans harvest honey from bees, he sues the human race. And after, yeah, he was allergic, yes. And after a series of mishaps, wins the trial. However, as a result of having too much honey, bees all lose their jobs, resulting in flowers all over the world dying out. Barry and Vanessa travel to a city in California where the only remaining flowers survive and steal a parade float full of flowers. Question mark. Well, so wait, why is there question marks here? So bees can use them to repollinate the world. Barry and the other bees use the flowers to reverse the damage, and the movie ends with all the bees working together with the humans. None. So there's no difference here. Barry 2. See previous. Barry B. Benson works with the pollen jars to gather pollen from Vanessa, who is now a human-sized bee. It's replacing the humans. It's taking away the humans. Ken, still a human, is in a relationship with Vanessa and becomes jealous of the attention Barry receives for being so good at fetching pollen. Ken attacks Barry, but Barry and the pollen jocks swarm him and sting him to death. Huh? They all die afterwards, but a new group of bees with identical faces and names quickly arrive to take their place. Vanessa appears alright with this. She shows new Barry the same attention she gave dead Barry. The movie goes on with new Barry suing the humans for stealing their honey, but near the end the jury and judge are revealed to now all be Ken. The trial ends with new Barry and a swarm of bees swooping up and stinging the jury and judge to death. A new Barry arrives, and together with Vanessa, they travel to California to steal the parade boat of flowers and use it to expand the hive all over the world. The movie ends like the previous iteration, except all the humans are now human-sized bees too for some reason. Notable differences. This is almost a completely different movie. It is definitely not for kids anymore. The deaths are cartoonish but still kind of gruesome. 98 minutes. It's even a minute longer. The absolute horror. Oh yeah, I don't have my music on. I was like, why is it so quiet? Iteration 3. See previous, effectively the same plot except Ken's death, both early on in the code scene, is more extensive, more gruesome, and takes more time. Everyone except for Ken is now a bee. All scenes where Ken is stung to death now involve multiple human-sized bees stinging him and dying in the process. All the dialogue in the movie, except for Ken's, which mostly consists of screaming, has been replaced with buzzing noises. 107 minutes. Duration 4. We went from funny to horrifying real fast, didn't we? Ken Bees. The movie consists of a above-view image of Ken writhing in an ocean of bees. Every time he opens his mouth, hundreds of bees pour into it. By the end of the film, his body has become swarmed with venom from thousands of stingers. His facial features have all but vanished beneath a dozen fist-sized pustules oozing with pus. Blind and helpless, his screams are not just muffled, gurgling sobs. He appears to spend the last few minutes of the movie suffocating as his throat finally swells shut, only to finally sink out of sight. The film has become live action. The bees are just now normal honeybees, and Ken is now portrayed by the actor who voiced him, not Patrick Warburton! Don't fucking do this to him! He's a good soul! What the fuck? 278 minutes of this? Ken already was like like, you know, the victim in the original movie. Now they're just gonna be, now it's just a murder victim as well. What the fuck? Iteration 5. Note, at this point, further testing was discontinued on account of researchers Shaoxin computer inexplicably filling with bees. Also, this leaked. Ooh. I think we can read this. This seems short. I will read it. Is it the Great Hippo again? Special contained procedures updated prohibit any test on media containing direct references to bees. It would be funny if it actually was communism will win. And I'm like, oh my god, they won't stop. Addendum to recovery. Oh. They're haunting me. They're haunting me. Oh my, they will never end. On the 16th, 2010, a Foundation operated web analysis, there we go, bot I.O. Sauron flagged several large-scale online purchases made by California startup company Hivefind as suspicious. The company website claimed it provided next-generation algorithms, client-centric solution, and cutting-edge comprehension software. 3 days later, MTF Mu4 debuggers performed a raid on the office of Hivefind. Although the building had been recently abandoned, they found several pieces of equipment, a large-scale QR scanner, 15 desktop computers, and over 900 gallons of stored honey. After detailed analysis, Mu4 determined that each QR scanner had been wired to provide control over one computer. SCP-3045 was found on one of the computer's hard drives. A later search uncovered over 50 dead, non-anomalous instances of Apis mellifera, American honeybee, spread throughout the office. Investigation into Hivefind ongoing. All the things you've read in the last 3 streams were written by those two I know! Well, let's read this. 4. The following document consists of the diary of currently SCP-3. Upon recovery, the entire cover of the diary had been covered in black permanent marker with the exception of several areas arranged in the shape of a stylized bee. Very good. Here each page is listed separately. Very good work. Looks actually really nice. March 17th, today I bought this diary artsy notebook thing, although I'm not sure why, because I thought the cashier ad was cute, okay? $30 down the fucking drain, right there. Yeah, man, yeah. You want to impress the cashier with by buying a notebook? Sure. I am pretty sure she's gonna remember your face and the fact that you bought that notebook, and she's gonna go home and be all over you. Also, my uncle's inheritance finally got sorted out. There wasn't a bunch of money, but I did get a fuck ton of his stuff afterwards. So much old stuff. Fucking nostalgia. Irrelevant monologue removed. March 20th. Still no word from... But it doesn't turn out she has a twin sister, so yeah. You wait. 3 days later, you gave up on the girl already and were like, well, I guess I'll go for the sister. No. Men in the audience, this is not how you do things. This is not how you treat women, okay? You can't just be like, let me just try my luck with her, and then 3 days later be like, ah shit, she hasn't responded? Well, I guess I'll go for a sit. No. Weird thing happened when I was looking through Uncle's stuff. Redacted, and out of nowhere I get this stinging stuff up, I get this stinging stuff up and down my arm. When I looked, there were like 5 puncture marks on my arm. What the fuck? No sign of anything that could sting me, but I bought a bottle of rage just in case. March 21st. Note to self, find out what the buzzing is. I hate it when you can just barely make out a sound, like the time on the smoke detector. I haven't heard back from the superintendent. He also wrote herd wrong. The super came over and claimed he couldn't hear anything. He fuck just doesn't want to have to fix anything. Probably because that would require walking upstairs. I caught that. And also, is it saying herd as in like a herd of bees? That's why it's written differently. The remainder of the page is filled with a drawing of an extremely rotund man, most likely the superintendent of Mr. Building. He appears to be eating several sub sandwiches while exclaiming, "I'm just big bone, yo." Notably, he also appears to be wearing a bumblebee costume. March 22nd, irrelevant monologue removed. On a side note, I watched a thing in the news today about bees. Apparently a bunch of them are disappearing or nobody knows why, and now fruit and stuff isn't getting pollinated, implying anybody eats fruit. Okay, motherfucker, okay? You calm down now. You already were a creep to begin with, and now you're just gonna be over here like, well, I'm not even healthy either. Yeah, no wonder she doesn't want anything to do with you, man. I'm sorry. That was I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. But the whole thing is sticking with me somehow a lot. Bees! I'm so crazy. Buzzing isn't gone yet. If anything, it's louder. The exterminator couldn't hear. Okay, this time here with hear anything either. And I got another prick on my arm when I was digging through the cupboard. Either these are coincidences or I'm being paranoid. Ugh. March 23rd. I've heard of yellow snow, but I wasn't aware that there are entire storms of yellow and black snow. The fuck you talk? But codes do not indicate any unusual weather patterns inducted on the date in question. How the fuck does that even work? Good thing I got some booze before it hit, because I think the power's out. Party hard! Why the shit did I move here? What if bees could come out of a hypothetical situation? 9 pages appear to have been removed with scissors. Okay, here we go. Now we have the fucking Google, like, you know, like the YouTube channel where like a celebrity would like reveal what Google has asked about them. Now we have that for bees. What if bees were intolerant of hornets? What if bees were made of smaller bees? What if bees were made out of bigger bees? What if you picked up a phone instead of a phone it was bees? What if there was a photo of bees? What if there was a bunch of bees on a plane? What if the dinosaurs were killed by bees? What if the dinosaurs were bees? What if your Facebook becomes infested with bees? What if bees hacked your Facebook? What if someone wrote on your wall about bees? What if cats vomited bees? What if bees could travel through paintings? What if bees was a science and was subject to bee review? What if bees are contagious? What if there was a bee gun? What if you forgot to reload the bee gun? What if the computer monitor could produce bees? What if bees start demanding civil rights? What if the Magna Carta has been bees the whole time? What if rabbits swore allegiance to the bees? What if Chinese bees? What if millennial bees? What if bees were 4-dimensional? What if bees were time travelers? What if time travel turns you into bees? What if time travel requires bees? What if you could replace explosion with bees? What if instead of movies there were bees? What if you could buy bees on the black market? What if bees are accepted as payment in Hawaii? What if instead of throwing beads on Mardi Gras you threw bees? What if bees wrote their travelogue? What if the travelogue was just bees? What if you eloped with bees? What if you served refreshment to bees? What if someone mentioned bees? What if bees formed a religion? What if that religion involved clockwork bees? What if bees had a polite disagreement? What if bees were paid to rake leaves? What if bees were in the grass of the tundra? What if bees are taking over your dreams? What if you control bees with your dreams? What if fictional characters happen to be bees? What if bees were aliens? What if bees come from the bee layer beneath the earth? What if bees could blow people up with the blink of an eye? What if bees were a superhero? What if you could mail order bees? What if the store has a sale on bees? What if the bees had a gay pride parade? That would be dope. What if bees went to the parade with no clothes? What if they intentionally behaved over bees? What if I accidentally bees? What if bees could live in any hollow area? What if bees were secret agents? What if you and bees had a highly different taste in music? What if plants dance to attract bees? What if bees swarmed around and stung people? What if bees are just made because are just mad because someone cut them off in traffic. What if bees could disrupt your Wi-Fi? What if bees were replaced with an numerical code? What if bees resembled bees? What if bees resembled different bees? What if bees were exactly like the movie? What if bees used magic to become become good at dabbing? What if each anime was a different color of bee? What if bees were nocturnal and sucked blood? What if bees and werewolves were sworn enemies? What if dogs were unable to perceive bees? What if bees had subwoofers? What if nobody realized that the bees had an evil plan? What if bees were censored by the government? What if transition metal reacted to bees? What if bees framed a politician for larceny? What if bees had ties to organized crime? What if bees unwittingly morphed into bricks during the full moon? Oh my god, that's actually the fucking brick SCP. What if someone wrote a book about bees? What if bees were computer literate? What if I'm bees? What if bees misread direction and killed a lemon tree? What if bees were an accurate description of the concept of the assembly line? What if Willy Wonka was prepared for bees? What if bees have fetishes? What if bees could vibrate through walls and discern motives? What if bees were put on a no-fly list? What if bees were mistaken for a Russian psyop? What if bees overran a mental institution? What if bees had daydreams about becoming lemurs? What if there was a wiki about bees? What if Wikipedia was bees? What if bees killed me mid-sen? I'm telling you guys what, I think I'm good with the word bees for now. Like after this SCP, the word bee can stay away from me for at least a week. The remainder of the last page is an illustration of numerous black specks attacking a stick figure. I would not be surprised if my phone suddenly has like bee advertisements on Instagram and shit like that. Because I just heard that word coming out of my mouth hundreds of times. In a room assembling SCP-3's apartment, the furniture and background also appear to be made out of small circles similar to those attacking the stick figure. Almost all of the blank space in the illustration has been filled with what are either stylized sliding bolts or the letter Z. I locked the door March 32nd April. I don't recall trying again later. Bees. I ran out of aloe vera, had to use mouthwash. For what? Surprisingly effective, but it still doesn't help with the bleeding. Called and we set up a date for 8 PM Thursday, which was 2 hours ago. Mouthwash in like an injury? Wouldn't that burn? I guess the disinfectant, I guess, right? I'm surprised you could hear me over the buzzing on the phone, and the phone was bees. Tuesday, B in hexadecimal is 1646 in decimal form. My favorite number. Who'd thunk it? Did expunged. I don't know why I wrote that. I'm not shitsu or anything. Disregard. The Godfather is on. I think I cut it partway through where the guy finds bees in his bed. Look at the TV. TV is bees. No television was found in Mr. Apartment, although a remote control is found. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a number of small oval shapes are missing from the paper. Small amounts of pollen were found near the edges. I tried writing, but then the paper was bees. I'm going to drink a bottle of whiskey and go to bed. What the hell? Bees do not go there. Allow. Here we go. The following page was covered entirely in crushed bees and human blood. Upon recovery, removal of the aforementioned tissues revealed that the following had been written on the page. Came over today and she screamed because of the bees. Now she is bees. I wonder why I'm not bees. Maybe I am. Do bees not know they are bees? Yellow. Bring it. March 17th. The snow is mostly gone and look at the pavement. It's mostly not the bees. I'm going to head over to the hospital, see if I can get this mole looked at. Bees followed me into the car and cut the brakes. God, I might be high. Good thing that it was only another mile to the hospital. Shut up, bees. I'm writing in my diary journal. Yeah, I'm manly. That's why it's on the diary, okay? Go to the hospital. Hospital is bees already. How? I just got here. No, wait, it's just my glasses. My glasses were definitely bees. I didn't schedule an appointment or anything, but if the nurse called a panic team or whatever it is and they ran me into a doctor, how thoughtful, but it's really not an emergency. I just really need them to look at a mole, except that a mole is bees. The doctor looked at me and said, I didn't see anything wrong. Well, of course there's nothing wrong except the bees and the bleeding, but that's to be expected from bee stings. They argued for a while and then they sent me away. March 119, I forgot to mention that the bees were eating the doctor. The others were screaming about it for a while, but when the bees finished it, they calmed down a lot and sat me out. I'm done. Nope. While the remainder of the diary is written in pencil, this appears to have been scratched into the paper. 30 pages are missing. I am bees. The remaining pages are blank. Conclusion: to date, this remains the most accurate account of incident -5 despite its inconsistencies. SCP-3 has no recollection of writing in any form of diary. Although the handwriting, personal knowledge and writing style are consistent with those of personnel assigned to containment of SCP, to read this document in its entirety. In the situation that the diary is bees, a modified document will be provided. Woo! An absolute bees. I have become bees. Oh my god. I just can't believe that it was fucking Communism Will Win that wrote that. God, like these two authors are following me around, dude. I'm loving it. But it's also like just crazy. And like I said before, the Great Hippo just will have to be going back. Nah! No, stay! Okay, yeah, I know it's late. Good night. The Afro was with you. See you next Saturday. If Afro was saying the word bees so many times. Yeah, I hope the next SCP doesn't have anything to do with that. Whew, alright. Let's continue. Oh no, before I go, I want to say I do like that we had the Great Hippo. The first one was like you know, brutal and terrifying. Then the second one was like cool. And the third one was funny at first, but then it became like kinda like scary as well. I mean, the whole like Ken being stabbed who knows how many times by bees is like, yeah.